Hey there, welcome. The discussion today is on how Israel has abandoned its Ethiopian Jewry. And I want to discuss how very fictitious things are when it comes to dealing with this Jewry thing. It doesn't make sense that a group of people who are from an ancient, more ancient than the Jewry itself, fall into the trap of leaving a land that is full of resources to go to another land that has been desecrated, such as Israel, what they call Israel today. And it's actually a part of Africa. But I want to get into this article and this discussion because it says a lot. And people can't see this, that it's been used as a way to give validity to the whole ideology of the Jewry, which we know that in the ancient days and times, not so far away from these days, but a good ways, that a group of people were adopted into um, Hebrewism, into that whole um, concept, that whole concept that was man-made to get a point across. Again, when we talk about science, deeper science, it's another way of hiding or codifying the deeper science that we no longer deal with. We deal with a certain percentage of it, but not the percentage that we should be dealing with if we want to see harmony and peace in the earth. If we want to go by the ways of nature, the universe, and not the ways of man. So, this particular article, if you have your eyes open and your ears open, then you will be able to see not your first eye, but your third eye. Not your first and second eye, but your first two eyes, but your third eye. Then you would be able to understand and understand and see clearly what the game plan was and has always been. Simple as that. Because here we go. This article is talking about how, these people were pretty much what they call it, tricked, tricked, um, tricked by people who know our history, So in 1948, I'm going to say the Caucasian people moved into um, this place that was called Palestine, that was actually Africa, part of Africa. Um, but desolate land. You can't really grow. Doesn't have no. That's why we ditch out. When you think about it, that's why we ditch out so much money, or that's maybe an excuse to ditch out so much money to keep up a land that is desolate. But there's another angle to the story of why they wanted, you know, the same people we've been dealing with for centuries and centuries have really not, we not stopped dealing with the same people. We just forget and we allow them back in the door again, no matter what. It's like in America, people forgot about slavery. People forgot about how they got treated. People forgot about how they got treated yesterday, and they're so in adamant and admiration over the very people that put them in those situations. And a lot of the people form relationships because it's like it's a strong delusion, a very strong delusion that comes over people and makes them feel forget. It's like a magic potion, basically, um, that puts you to sleep and allows you to trust and really believe lies. Allow yourself to be lied to about things. These people, you know, colonization, I blame for this because they had control over these people's education, how they see the world. The same with us over here. You know, are when you are subjugated and put in a position where you are dependent upon the people. And the very clear example of how it's how we keep allowing them to lead the way, allowing them to do these things like Israel. What did they do? They wanted to take all the Ethiopians. Why? Why? The same thing, the Ethiopians over in Ethiopia are fighting for their land and their resources. But there's some Ethiopians who really want to go to Israel for some reason because some man came and told them that it's some holy moly roly sacred place, a sacred ideology, sacred. You're a sacred people, bloodline. It's the same like Christianity when you think about it. It's all bunched up the same. Somebody's got to be the special people, or someone has to be sacrificed. But do we really know what the true meaning is behind all of those writings? Is it about necessarily a special people to stand out, where white man can come and say he's a Jew and that he has the right to some land, which was Africa, and was not way before the time of the jury. And they, like I said, the Ethiopian, the Sudanese are as close to Egypt as you're going to get. Even though a lot of us, our bloodline is connected to Egypt as well. But I'm saying because they were over there so long and they, that's the place. That's the place for them. But they allow someone to swoop them up and take them, fly them to Israel. That's only a small part of what portion of Egypt. Egypt stretched from parts of Europe all the way to parts of Asia. You see, the ancient. So when they, and I suspect America as well. I really do suspect that. So let me get into reading this. The remaining Jews of Ethiopia have no current prospects of leaving. Aliyah is frozen. 2 weeks ago, the Israeli government passed a 2-year budget that includes no funding for bringing the 12,500 Jews remaining in Ethiopia to Israel. This is devastating blow to the Ethiopian Jewish community. In both Israel and Ethiopia, I have traveled to Ethiopia many times over the past 35 years. Returning from my latest trip only recently, the community has never been in such anguish. You see, they really put these people in a position where they can tell them anything and pump them up and make them think, these things. But they treat them so bad over there in Israel. It's the racism is thick. So I don't even I don't get what they don't know, what they can't see as far as these people they're dealing with. It's all been a trick bag to get you to kill you off, to get you sterilized and bit by bit, but they see it's not working. That's the point. They see it's not working. Ethiopia is strong in Ethiopia. They won't be shaken, they won't be moved. They're in control. And things are not working out in the plan of the devil himself. The devil will be in many different faces. I'm telling you, he's in many different faces. And this is one of them. And I just don't, I mean, I'm not in their situation, I'm not in their position. But I mean, it would be obvious to me as a young Ethiopian that these people are doing this. Because I'm very, very attentive and very, uh, how do you say it? I can read things off the bat. I can read easily. As a child, I don't even have to know the situation. I can sense what's going on. And um, it's a huge trick bag, a constant trick bag these people pull wool over people's eyes. And but they trust them. That's the whole point. They trust these people, they believe these people, and these people get them to leave Ethiopia only to be living in a subpar. an unequal society with them because it's part of their plan. But the plan is not working because it's not hurting Ethiopia. It's just so many Ethiopians to deal with, you know, that they're throwing in the towel when it comes to their plan. They see it's not going to work. It's not going to work to continue to bring Ethiopians over because the burden falls upon them in Israel. It gets hard for them. So they see it's not, they didn't study the science behind things. If they studied the science behind things, they wouldn't even waste their time trying to do these things because it wasn't going to work. But now they got anti-Semitic laws passed for these Jewish people. And if you say anything bad about them, then I guess the truth hurts the devil. The truth is going to constantly hurt the devil. And it doesn't hurt anybody else, the things that they do and the plans they plot, because we know that it just falls right back on them. Everything, if you have a bad intention, that's the worst intentions to really carry around in this physical existence. Bad intentions is something that you do not want to carry around with you in this physical existence. Because when you do that, you're setting yourself up for just so much. And they didn't think about that because they're too busy. They're on the surface of things: our skin, our clothes, our hair, our ethnicity, our religion. They don't even. You got to go deep into this thing called religion. Everything is just surface, 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 surface. And that's how they get us. We're deeper people, but we can't see because we don't utilize our third eye. We don't utilize our spirituality. We are utilizing the logic of a group of people who want to control the planet. That's who. That's what we're doing. And these people, you can't expect them to know that. You can't expect them to know that, but you can understand how they get tricked. You know. And for me, none of this exists. It's just delusional, trying to put themselves in something that doesn't exist for them. That doesn't exist for them. The Ethiopians really don't have to waste their time and their energy on this, but they have, and they're in it. Because it even says in the article, some of them, this is devastating blow to the Ethiopian Jewish community in both Israel and Ethiopia. I've traveled to Ethiopia many times over the past 35 years, returning from my latest trip only recently. The community has never been in such anguish. Hundreds of parents who have been separated for decades from their family, their children, some of whom serve in the IDF are heartbroken. You see, we shouldn't give we the same amount of energy that our people around this world put into the white man. We need to put that energy back in ourselves, and we would be just fine. But if we putting it outward, that's when the heart breaks. That's when the heart aches. That's when our children aren't protected. That's when we're not protected. That's when our men are not protected. It's just so much. It's just so much, and I really don't get it. You know, why don't we see to learn? Because this was nothing but a trick bag. I remember them loading them all up in planes and having them go, and I never could understand how you let somebody lead you that way. The devil is all, they say the devil leads you to your demise. And that's the fact. That's the fact. It's never been a wrong statement. Never been a wrong statement. The government has no plans to complete the implementation of its 2015 resolution, which mandated the aliyah of thousands of the remaining Ethiopian Jews, thousands of Ethiopians maternally linked to the Jewish people, who over the past several decades have been recognized as Jews by Israeli chief rabbis. But if it's either a religion or it's a bloodline. I don't get it. I don't get it. I know it's not a race. I know it's not a bloodline. But it I know for a fact that it's a huge trick. It's a huge trick. Over the past several decades have been recognized as Jews by Israeli chief rabbis, including Obadiah, Yosef, Mordecai, Eliyahu, and Shlomo Amar are not even covered by that resolution, and this by a government dominated by a religious parties. The decision is budgetary, like everything else. It's got to do with economics, resources, and land. If you smell that, then you're gonna always know what's up. If you don't, then you're probably in a state of confusion over exactly why we exist. You know. So, the way I see it, I guess people think that in America that black people we supposed to be well off or stuff like that. Is that that's the persona, that's the look of it, but it's not the truth of it. The truth of it is um, slavery is real, and slavery has not went anywhere. Slavery is real, and slavery has not went anywhere. For thousands of years, the Jewish people have welcomed the return of Jews who converted to another faith, such as Marranos. Hmm. They're Jewish, they're sort of, kinda. We know that they were adopted into the religion. But how did it become? I get okay. White supremacy made it become the bloodline, and it's a confusing thing. It's either the bloodline or it's either a religion. But I guess they say it's both. If they're white and they say so, whatever they say goes. So basically, Israel itself approved the aliyah of Iranian Jews from Mesh. Those forebears converted to Islam in 1839. The vast majority of the Beta Israel awaiting aliyah. The thing about it is, none of this really existed until it was built in 1948. Until all of this was built, this reality was built in 1948 for the benefit, of course, for the benefits of being able to keep a little closer to Africa and its resources, slowly but surely. Get the people to deal with the people. Israel's unreasonably narrow interpretation of the law of return should not apply to Beta Israel of indisputable Jewish lineage. Checked by the Interior Ministry before immigration visas are granted. Contrary precedent, such as the 1960 case of Brother Daniel, who converted to Christianity and wished to remain a monk, are mistakenly applied to Jews who have chosen to return the Jewish faith. See, what I'm trying to tell you guys is none of this is ancient. None of this is grounded in ancient science or anything like that. All of this is pretty much grounded in greed and control and power and hatred and wanting to remove and steal resources, you know. Because you got to ask yourself, who would leave the land of milk and honey to go to a desolate land with a group of people who are not going to treat you fairly? who's not going to treat you right. Because the education of the times before, the things that have happened to these people's ancestors that are still in Ethiopia, they weren't allowed to learn those things. Because the colonists, they controlled it, their education. Now we know that Ethiopia wasn't colonized, but their minds were surely colonized. And I think that the people they had over their leadership was colonized enough. Because people think that the West is this great place. So that gives validity to these people when they go over and they tell these people things or say things. Now, the thing that gets me is how they get treated. Their science, the Ethiopian jury science, has nothing to do with this white man. But he dresses himself in disguise and tells them that he's a part of the jury and they are part of the jury, so they can start having them come back home to a place that never was their home. It was desolate land. It's desolate land. And are they treating people good, period? Because I've seen some poor Jews all over the place. And should there be poor Jews? I don't know. I don't get it. If you were taken care of, it seems like you would take care of your people. But it doesn't work like that. I don't know where all that money they make our people pay for the Holocaust all the time, over and over and over again. But yet we get nothing. And we were the first to go through the harsh stuff. We were the ones who went through the harsh stuff. Did they really ever do go through what they went through? Who knows? Anybody can anybody can act. Anybody can trick you. And in this physical place that we're in, there's a lot of tricks. A lot of tricks. A lot of magic tricks. Smoke and screens and gadgets and buzzards and all that noise. Sounds. So it is crazy. Israel, okay, so I read that. Okay. Even if the law of return is technically inapplicable, the law of entry gives Israel ample means to remain faithful to centuries of Jewish law and practice. Israel has admitted tens of thousands of Ethiopian Jews in the past by government decision, pursuant to the provisions of this law. Why is this abandoning the last 12,500 Jews, leaving families divided? It's a mystery. Okay, the true Ethiopian Jews do not possess PhDs in mathematics and are not from Eastern Europe like the tens of thousands of Israel has admitted recently. But past governments acknowledge that the increased costs of preserving Ethiopian Jews and their unfamiliar ethnicity is not justifying violating core Zionist principles. No, I don't get who would want to be around that. It's war torn. It's just craziness. Just these people's minds about war, war, war. I don't I don't get it. But I'm getting sleepy, so I'm gonna leave this article, a copy of this article, on my on this video, so that you all can finish looking at the details in this mess. Hmm. Mm-mm. So this is appalling to me. This is very appalling to me how they are doing these people and how they have done these people. You know, it's a death trap, and I wouldn't want anything to do with them. Nothing. I wouldn't want it because simply the atrocities that were pulled on other parts of Africa way before the Holocaust. Where were these people then? Where were they? They were enjoying riches and stuff like that. But how did they get those riches into Europe? You know, Germany of all places. How did they get that then? You know, you got to think about those things because it's just something that our people, we've always been through the same thing, and we allow the trick, we allow the trickery. You know, get them out of their land, get them thinking that they're part of some surface jewelry. This is surface jewelry. This is surface stuff. What is the real true meaning behind it? What is it doing for us on this earth? What is our experience? How is it supposed to help us in our experience? Those are things to think about. I feel like that doesn't help you when you experience jewelry on the surface part. But if you want to dig deep into the true um, knowledge, science of, then that's a different thing. Then we're digging deep into the true science. But just jewelry and, to me, being a Jew or Jewish and wanting to go back to a desolate land, Israel, that they named and called Israel, um, it's beyond me. It's totally beyond me. it's all because of how they pumped it up and made it seem like um, it's truly um, you know, like this really existed in the ancient times, and it didn't. When you read the book and how they disconnect themselves from Christianity, that just tells you, that should just tell you right there. Because the Bible is a code, it's coded. And since they don't go by that, what we have to look at what they do go by. Maybe we'll look into their stuff and see what they, because like I said, I've been to one of their churches, one of their, and it's totally different than the Christianity, and they don't deal with Jesus. You know, so we'll look at this later, and I'll put the article in so you guys can look at it. 'Cause as you can see, my eyeballs are getting heavier than hubcaps, and I'm about ready to go smack on my bed real hard, knock it out, knock it out. So with that said, true love, world peace, the higher self within the soul. Let me see if I can edit this and edit it. Ugh. Hmm. Yeah, I can edit in. Yeah, I edited it in. Hopefully it'll let me save it. Yeah, let me save it. Okay, peace and good night. Till next time.